Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. I am your host, Megan Hardy, and I'm the founder of Fitness Uncharted, where we talk about mindset and strategies that are going to help you to build muscle, lose body fat, improve your metabolism, and leave you feeling confident and empowered. I am your host, Megan Hardy, and let's jump right into it. Today, we're going to be talking about 4 styles of resistance training and which one is best or which one is best for you. And I want to go ahead and just preface with I'm not going to touch on all forms of exercise or workouts because, there's so many other options outside of resistance training, like cardio exercise, if you're doing hiking or swimming or sports, anything recreational like that. Or if you're doing more so, flexibility and balance or meditation style workouts like yoga, Pilates, those forms of exercise. So we're not talking about all exercise here. We are specifically talking more so about different styles of resistance training exercise. And I also just want to be clear too, before we jump on in, that I have my own biases for what has worked for me and for my clients, but there isn't really a wrong way to do it. It just depends on what your goals are and what you want out of it and what you prefer too. So I will say I have other coaches that work with me, my Fit You coaches, and they do different styles of training themselves based off of their own preferences. But what we do have a collective approach on how we coach our clients based off of their goals. And again, it boils down to what are your preferences, what can you stick to, and what are your goals. So I want to preface with that before we jump on in, but let's go ahead and get started. So the first one that we're going to cover is CrossFit. CrossFit being a style of strength training and conditioning. So really CrossFit has a strength component, but it's very much focused on the conditioning aspect as well. So it's a workout that focuses on functional movements performed at high intensity levels. So this is a very high intensity form of strength training. But it's going to focus more so on those functional movements that you perform in your day-to-day life, like squatting, pushing, pulling. So very functional movements. And it's good for building coordination, strength, stamina, and agility. So if those are things you're wanting to work on or focus on, CrossFit can be a good option for those things. And it definitely, let me tell y'all, it definitely takes coordination. And Coach Courtney, one of our Fit You coaches, will tell you that. She's our CrossFit girl. So it's definitely a form of exercise that's going to build that coordination, agility, stamina, and it also has the strength component in there as well. I will say with CrossFit, it can be harsh on your joints. So, and this comes from me speaking from a dancer background because I danced growing up all through college. I'm very much well aware of my joints. And also with talking with clients who have done CrossFit in the past, sometimes it can be harsh on your joints, especially if you're not using good form. So that's where I will also put the caveat that any form of exercise that you do can be harsh on your joints if you're not executing correctly or using proper form. So this is where it's just super, super important if you're going the CrossFit route to start at your fitness level and build from there. If you are going to a good CrossFit gym, then they should have you starting at the appropriate level for you because beginners can totally do CrossFit. You just don't want to jump into more of an advanced CrossFit class, right? Like you want to make sure that you are starting at the level for you and also make sure that you're using really good form. Again, that's where it really is important that you get into a good class and have, good advice around you. So CrossFit can be great for speed, power, endurance. Some people who do CrossFit are trying to compete, like in the CrossFit Games. So that's where I see a lot of people who do the sport of CrossFit are looking at as that, like as a sport, like they want to compete and they enjoy that competition. While others are just using CrossFit for, general fitness and for the community aspect. That's another thing I will say with CrossFit. A lot of people really love the community part of it and they just feel like they're part of a team, right? And they love like the hype of CrossFit. So some people just are using it for general fitness and for that community aspect. The next one that we're going to talk about, so our resistance training style number 2 is a bodybuilding style of strength training. With this style, bodybuilding uses progressive resistance training to develop muscle via hypertrophy. So this is kind of goes back to progressive overload. So if you listen to one of the last podcast episodes I did on progressive overload, this is very much hand in hand with bodybuilding style strength training. So if you did not catch that episode, go check it out, because this will change the game for you with your strength training workout if you are doing more of a bodybuilding style. So bodybuilding workouts, they are a great way to shape and develop the muscle to be aesthetically pleasing and proportionate. You can be very strategic with how you are building the muscle and it to be aesthetically pleasing. So we cannot spot reduce. So let's go ahead and clear the air there. You cannot spot reduce where fat comes from. Like doing more crunches is not going to make you lose belly fat. Like doing more step ups or squats is not going to make you lose thigh fat or booty fat or anything, or right, or those love handles. Like you cannot spot reduce. Unfortunately, we cannot pick where fat comes from first on our body. That's just our overall activity and nutrition, and the fat will come off of us, but we can't pick where it comes from. However, we can be strategic about where we are building muscle and how we're doing that. In bodybuilding, you can do it in a way where you have that symmetry and it can be very proportionate. So for anyone with the goal of quote unquote toning, which again, I'm going to say it every time I say the word toning, I'm going to follow it up with, I do not like this word, but I know everyone knows what I mean when I say it, is, that muscle definition is all toning is having more muscle show through the surface of your skin. And bodybuilding is the style of training I would recommend for that, because of how strategic you can be with that muscle hypertrophy. So you're going to have, with bodybuilding style training, you're going to have slower, more controlled reps to help pump up and build the muscle and reduce body fat as well, hand in hand with that. So this is where you will see more of that aesthetically pleasing muscle definition and body tone. And then next, we are going to talk about powerlifting. So that is number 3 on our list. Powerlifting is a strength sport, hands down. Powerlifting is 100% strength, and you're attempting with powerlifting to lift maximal weight on 3 lifts. So you have the squat, you have bench press, and you also have the deadlift. So you are trying to lift the maximal weight possible on those 3 lifts. Along with that, like kind of in the same vein as that, but separately, you also have Olympic weightlifting. And with Olympic weightlifting, you're focusing on 2 types of lifts. You're focusing on your snatches and also your clean and jerks. Again, with both of these styles, powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting, the primary goal is strength. How freaking strong can you get? Like, what's your 1 rep max, right? Like, how strong can you get on each of these lifts? And you're not going for aesthetics. You're not going for fat loss or endurance or, anything like that, like you are with some of the other styles, bodybuilding or CrossFit styles that we talked about. With this, it's all strength. How freaking strong can I get? And execution here, you guys, is everything. Performing the movement perfectly with good form is everything. That execution. And this is really a style of strength training that I personally completely avoid, because I don't think the benefits outweigh the risks. And again, this is me coming from more of my dance, longevity, joint health background, not so much like the strength side of things and the competition side of things. Like I do not think for the average person, the benefits of this style outweigh the risks of doing that heavy of lifts and just going for that max. But again, it depends on what your goals are. If your goal is maximum strength or competing in powerlifting or something, if you're trying to compete in the sport of powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting, this is how you want to train. And again, this is another form of strength training that will build muscle. Like you will build muscle doing this naturally. But there are other ways that can be safer for your average Joe to build muscle. But this is, again, if you're someone who's just really wants to get strong in these lifts, it could be a cool thing for you to go try, especially let's say for powerlifting. If you are trying to get a heavier bench or a heavier squat or heavier deadlift, and you want to really focus on those those lifts, and maybe you do want to do some powerlifting for a while. I think that's really cool because those lifts also translate over to other styles of strength training as well and will serve you very well. So even if it's something that you're just trying to play around with to see how strong you can get on those lifts, that's cool. But it just depends on what your goal is. So a lot of the women that I speak with, and then me personally, I want to look good, I want to feel good naked, and I want longevity. So those are my goals and what I'm going for. But also powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting can have its time and place. I personally just don't really dabble in it myself. So that is number 3. And then number 4 is our HIIT training. So I wanted to touch on this one. So we're probably most of us familiar at this point with what HIIT stands for, but it's high intensity interval training. And it's really more so like cardio style workouts. But nowadays it's really getting mixed with and sometimes paired with resistance training. So that's why I want to touch on it, because I hear more and more classes like group fitness classes or HIIT, quote unquote, HIIT classes that are like, oh, we use weights, or there is a resistance training component to it. So that's why I want to bring it up. And that's why I'm including it in this resistance training exercise style topic. Because, you can build muscle from HIIT strength workouts if you're including the strength component, and you do burn a lot of calories in a short period of time with this style of workout. It can help with fat loss because naturally, if you're burning a lot, you're going to also, if you are creating a calorie deficit, you can burn more body fat. And it's also a great option if you're short on time. So if you're the person that's like, I got 15 minutes to crank it out, a HIIT workout and including a strength component can be a great option. With that said, if your goal is more muscle definition, AKA quote unquote toning, then I would not recommend this as a substitute for traditional bodybuilding style of strength training. HIIT training or HIIT resistance training is really more so cardio with weights. So if you think of it like that, it's great cardiovascular exercise, and it can have strength and muscle building component to it, but you're not going to get the same level of muscle hypertrophy, AKA that building muscle, as you would if you were doing slower, more controlled reps with heavier weight. If you were using more so a bodybuilding style approach where you can use progressive overload and, focus on the muscle control and increasing weight or reps or volume intensity over time, that's where you're going to see more of that muscle hypertrophy happen. But HIIT can be a great addition if you're looking for a quick workout, or if you are looking for more of the cardiovascular benefits or fat loss and kind of burn, then it can be a great addition. I just wouldn't recommend using it as like a substitute for more traditional strength training, because you're not going to build the muscle the same way that you would with that style. So really all that to say to you guys, like, it really just depends on what your goal is. Like I talked about at the beginning, are you looking for more functional movement? Like, are you looking to improve your agility and having more of that functional movement component? Or is your goal aesthetics? Are you trying to look bomb in that bikini or see some abs or some bicep definition? Or, are you going for more aesthetics? Do you want to compete in CrossFit games or powerlifting? Like, if your goal is competing in a specific sport like CrossFit or powerlifting, you should definitely train specifically in CrossFit or powerlifting, right? Or, do you want to compete in a bikini show one day? If that's the case, like, I would go more so the bodybuilding style route, because that's how you're going to get that bikini body, right? Do you want to compete in a show? Or are you looking at overall longevity and health? Is that your goal? Are you more so the general population that is just trying to maybe lose a little bit of weight or body fat, build some muscle, but have longevity, have a long, healthy, high quality of life? That's another really great goal too. But I would say most of the people probably listening to this, or most of the people I work with, are in that category of overall health and longevity. And also, if your goal is building muscle and losing body fat for that quote unquote toned look, I would recommend personally a bodybuilding style strength training regimen, building that into your routine somehow. That's what I would recommend, along with, you could pair that with some cardio or whatnot, but definitely having the bodybuilding style strength training component. That's not to say that you can't build muscle and lose body fat with the other forms of resistance training that we talked about. Like, truth be told, you guys, with the right nutrition plus resistance training, you can build a muscular physique with any one of these styles of training. Like we've gone through them now. And as you've heard, like you will build muscle doing any one of these styles of strength training paired with the correct nutrition. Like nutrition is king, hands down. But there is a reason why bikini competitors do bodybuilding style workouts and not, CrossFit style or other styles of workouts. There's a reason, like, to get that certain physique, bodybuilding is one of the best ways to do that and build that muscle hypertrophy in, because you can target specific muscle groups to build the muscle and then also get that better body composition and that muscle symmetry that you get from a bodybuilding style strength training workout. So there are different styles of training that are better for specific goals. But at the end of the day, nutrition plus consistency is the most important thing. So find a style of training that you truly enjoy and that you will stay consistent with. That is hands down the most important thing. Like, while I am biased to bodybuilding style strength training because that's like what has worked best for me and for my clients, that's not to say that it's hands down the best for everyone. Like if you're someone who really enjoys like the camaraderie of a CrossFit gym, like shout out Coach Courtney. Like she loves the camaraderie of her CrossFit gym. Like go do that and have fun. Like I have some clients who do bodybuilding strength training with me because they want the aesthetic results that they know will come with the bodybuilding style strength training. But then they also still go to a CrossFit gym just because they enjoy it, because they enjoy the environment, So that's equally as important as well. Or I oftentimes also, like, we're not really talking about cardio today, but just to touch on it, I have a lot of clients who are huge into running. Me personally, I don't run unless I'm being chased. So there's that. Like I'm not a runner myself. I don't get joy out of it, but a lot of my clients do. And it's like, while that may not be your best option if your goal is toning or building muscle, decreasing body fat, increasing muscle tone, if you enjoy running, I'm never going to tell a runner to stop running. First of all, if you're a runner, you know that that's useless because you know that you like can't stop, won't stop. But, it's like I have so many runners who pair for, again, the aesthetic benefits. They'll pair a bodybuilding style strength training regimen along with some of their running. So doing what you enjoy is equally as important, especially if one of your goals is longevity and if you want that consistency. So find a strength training routine you enjoy, use good form, definitely use good form, be consistent, and eat well. Like that is what matters, you guys, at the end of the day. That's what matters. So you will get results from any one of these styles of strength training if you do those things. Yes, there are some modes or styles that are better for certain goals than others, but all of them can build muscle and can be beneficial in their own ways. So if you found this helpful, take a screenshot of this episode, share it to your story, or if you've been having this debate with a friend or family member, which style of training is best. I know this can be like a hot topic depending on what island or you stand on, but you can go ahead and share this episode with them and you can end that debate once and for all and let them know that there's a lot of nuance to it and it depends on your goals. It depends on your preferences. But you can end that debate, share it with a friend or family member, and also be sure to check out the Fitness Uncharted Facebook group. That's linked in the show notes. And that's where we give away a ton of free resources revolving around strength training and nutrition. It's an amazing community in there. So go check that out. The link is in the show notes. And until next time, you guys, my friends, be well and make it an amazing day.